disobeying our parents, 11 months of disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now all of a sudden we reach this point where like, hey, we got to stop all this. You have to stop it. We have to pull to you have to, you know, you have to stop this and kind of reverse that, slow that big snowball down. So then how do you do it? And Ramadan becomes one of these catalysts to kind of help clear the debt. So it's like, hey, you owe somebody owes something to you. This is a point in time where you need to look at yourself and say, hey, what debt do I have to somebody? Before you enter into Ramadan. See, a lot of people they use like these they use like hey, I'm gonna have all this fun in my life and then I'm gonna go for Hajj when I'm 70 years old. Alhamdulillah, I got all my fun done and now I'm gonna go for Hajj and erase all my sins. Or it's like, yo, I don't do any of this ibadah, I don't do any of that ibadah, and I'm gonna use Ramadan to change. Like I'm gonna once I get into Ramadan, then I'm gonna change. And for a lot of people it works. For a lot of people it works. But for the people that plot, some scholars say that this is even plotting against Allah. To say that you're going to sin until you get to Hajj, like you're going to sin until you get to this point, you're like plotting against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you're saying that I'm going to go and sin. And what if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't allow you to reach that point? What if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't allow you to reach that point? I mean, one person that we know who definitely did, try, that many, like scholars are now are speaking about, he tried so very hard. And still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used him as an example before he reached Ramadan to teach us all the lessons. Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. You guys know that he just passed away. You guys know that, he was somebody who was a huge example to American society and um, about standing up for what you believe in. And many people think that he was famous because of his boxing, but that's not where his fame was derived from. His fame was derived from his the quotient that he used to say, "Hey, I disagree with going over there. I disagree with going to war. I disagree with being a part of this thing that is being said this for a certain reason, and it doesn't sit right with me." And so he stood by himself and he gave up the greatest thing, he gave up title and stuff like that. So in that reminder is that in him is a reminder that no matter how hard, no matter where our life is, as long as Imam Zayd has come out and even said he's going to be leading his janazah. Imam Zayd Shekhar is going to be leading Muhammad Ali's janazah, and he's saying finally he's been his spiritual advisor for last little while now, and they got really close. So alhamdulillah, you see this person rolling the ball in the right way, rolling the ball in the right way, rolling the ball in the right way. Not to say that he was ever rolling in a bad way. But it's very interesting because for a lot of us, that's very difficult. For a lot of us, we don't, death doesn't hit us on the doorstep until maybe some of us might know a relative that we lost, maybe somebody might know, but it's not like we need to kind of wake up. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I think, is using this as an example to wake us all up. In the last 3 weeks, at our masjid here in Issa, Canada, we've had several janazas, and one day was a 27-week-old baby. And they said that right after Dhuhr was done, and right after Dhuhr was done, they said, hold on, we have a janaza. And usually like 5 guys rush to the door, where where they wash the body from, they're gonna, roll the coffin in. And only one brother got up and he stood up and he carried the coffin, subhanAllah, this child in his hand. And it was a 27-week-old baby, subhanAllah. It was very huge. Sheikh Abdullah was in tears and he was crying. He was like, SubhanAllah, this is not a reminder. This is not a reminder. I don't know what is. And then the next week, there was a 16-day-old baby. The baby was only 16-day old, and at the exact same time as janazah, it was two janazahs at once, and there was a brother, and he was over 70. He was in his 70s. So you have a kid who was 16 days old, a baby who was 16 days old, and a man who was in his 70s. And they prayed janazah together. And Sheikh Abdullah was just remarking on, subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, if this is not an example of us to all wake up and smell roses, then I don't know what is. And so that becomes a question of, what, how do we treat each other? Like, how are we going to enter into this Ramadan differently than we entered into any Ramadan before? And I think the first place to start is your heart. So listen, let me tell you something. There's ibadah in Ramadan. We're going to go through that at the end, inshallah. There's all these ibadahs in Ramadan that you have to, these are kind of these things that we complete and these things that we do. And there are also things externally to us. There's us in our community. So one huge thing that's happening right now, I'm going to work a little bit backwards. I'm going to go outward. I'm going to come in. So one huge thing that happens every Ramadan is this question of when does Ramadan start? When is it? You got these three methods, right? You have three or four methods. One person is like calculation, and then the other method is by local sighting, and then another one is by global sighting. So if anywhere in the world the moon is seen. So these are all three valid opinions. And recently I just read this, like there's this huge arguments over, hey, let's all kind of, do one thing. Come on, let's all start it on one day. And subhanAllah, like everyone that I talk to, that's kind of like, yeah, this is a good thing. Um, when we have a little bit of conversation with them and show them another option, they all of their jaws just completely drop. And the other option is this. What this the organization that came up recently that said, hey, you got to celebrate all Ramadan on the same day, or whatever, the same lunar calendar. They're like, oh, some lunar calendar that we're all going to follow. What are we basically saying? Jazakallah khair, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jazakallah khair. You told us that you gave us the mercy of difference of opinion, that people could pray Asr at Bani Qurayza, or people can pray Asr in the desert, two different, and they're both right. But you know what? We think we're smarter, so we're just going to do one thing. We're going to, just take the other two options out. Why would we limit ourselves? Where does it say in either philosophy or science or religion or sociology that unity equals uniformity? That we all have to be doing the exact same thing to be unified? Where does it say that? There's a question of disputation, correct? This is in the Quran. This is Battle of Uhud. This is when you dispute amongst yourselves. But if we learn not to dispute and we learn that, hey, they're both based on the Quran and the Sunnah, or all three methods are all based on the Quran, they're all based off of, they're all coming from one thing, one source, then why would we limit ourselves? And so the argument then becomes, hey, listen, why don't we all put ourselves in a different state of mind? Rather than all wishing to pray Eid on one day, because I don't think we're doing it for ourselves. I think we're doing it for like our jobs, or like to say that, hey, we want to tell the world we can all do something on the same day, just like everyone else does, and we want to kind of follow suit with everyone else. But imagine you had three different people, and these three different people came and told you three different stories. I saw this, I saw this, I saw this. And they're arguing with one another. And then imagine you had three people come to you who saw three different things with their eyes. I saw this, I saw this, and I saw this. But then what they say is, you know what? The guy who saw the first thing, he's like, you know what? The other two guys, they're correct. Although I'm going to follow what I see, they're completely correct in what they said. And then the second guy is like, says the exact same thing. He's like, this is what I saw, but those two guys, they're valid. Their opinion and what they saw is valid, and I'll defend it, and I'll support it. And the third guy does the exact same thing. He says, you first two guys, I'm going to defend whatever you say. If that's your opinion and it's based on correct science, based on Islam, then you know what? You guys are correct. And now you have this analogy where all these different people come together and they're defending each other's positions, even though they don't follow it. Even though they don't follow it. They completely follow one of the three opinions, and they're like, all three are completely valid. I will defend the guy who follows calculation. I will defend the guy who follows moon sighting. I will defend the guy that follows global sighting. And it's like, subhanAllah, now look at the shape of the heart. You bring all these people together and say, that's human. That's where the hearts come together. And they're like, subhanAllah, like this is where we really need to be. This is the type of people that we need to be. So the idea of us first with our community is the sense of unity. You want to enter into Ramadan, enter in unity. Enter it like no matter where you are, defend other people. Don't make issues of calamity over the moon and stuff like that. They're all valid. They're all valid. Why would you limit anybody? Like there's no point to doing such a thing. We want to be people that open our chests, right? We open our chests. We don't constrict them and close them and tighten them and like, no, this is only my thing. This is the only way to do it. So be like people like that, inshallah. We open our chests, inshallah. The second thing is finding a gift. I'm going to explain a gift to you, all right? every people have this thing like these New Year's resolutions. Okay, at the end of January, yeah, I'm gonna buy a treadmill and a gym membership, and I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. For me, it's maybe 150. But listen, don't laugh. So you're gonna lose. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna stick to it. And they're like, they work on the external. Like, hey, this is a person I need to be. Or even sometimes they do work on the internal. But what it always is always a goal. Is something that they want to reach. And that's good. Having a goal is fantastic. But you can add something to that. You can add a plus sign to that. Actually, a plus sign before. And the plus sign before is looking at your life like, be honest. Honestly looking at your life and seeing really who you are. Like, honestly, come on. If you're a show off, you know you're a show. You know it. You boast about things or where you've gone or what you wear or where you've driven or what you drive. You know you're a boastful person. Or if you're somebody who is like a liar, like you lie a lot, you tell a lot of fibs, or they're small, they're gray, they're black, they're orange, they're green, doesn't matter, but you lie. You lie. And then there's somebody who has like, this little double life. Here I am one way, here I am with another. Here I am with my Muslim friends. Here I am with Michael and John and Jennifer and Leslie. And here I am with Muhammad and you know yourselves, honestly. Tonight, Ramadan Mubarak, Kul Aam wa Bikhair to all of you. May Allah make this next year beautiful for you more than the year in the past. But if you want to be honest, then before Maghrib hits tonight, after this is done, you pick a corner in your house where no one's around. Go pick a corner and sit down on the ground, just though you're doing the tahiyyat. Just sit down, just chill, and just look at the last year of your life and ask yourself, who have you been? Have you been a boastful person, a liar, a cheater, stealer, not good with your parents? You're gonna find one quality. You have to be honest. Oh, I'm not a boastful person. You know, you are. Don't lie. Just you yourself in the corner of a room in your house. Find that spot and find out what you yeah, and come to the realization of who you've been. And I want you to take. Maybe you're gonna find more than one quality. Maybe you are, but one quality might stick out to you about who you are. One quality might stick out to who you are. I want you to take a piece of paper and just write that quality down, just the one word or the two words. And I want you to think about every instance where you've exhibited it. So, for example, if you're boastful or like you're money centric or something like that, it's like anyone touches your glass, bro, don't touch my glasses. Those are like $300 glasses. I'm making fun of myself because I used to be that type of person, right? Like, oh, don't touch this. This costs that much money. Don't touch this. This costs that much money. And you're like, subhanallah, in one Ramadan, it dawned on me like, A'udhu Billah, what kind of person am I? Like, why do I have to tell everyone the dollar amount? Like, what's the point of that? And so I stopped. I tried to stop. I stopped. You come and say, this is not a good thing for us to do. So I'm like that internalization, in that self-analysis, finding one quality and then use Ramadan to take that thing out. Use Ramadan to rip that thing out of your heart. Use it to rip that thing out of your heart. All right? Ramadan should not be the thing that changes you. You should enter into Ramadan wanting to change, and Ramadan eases you to do it. It's like, here, I'll take care of you. I'll be the bridge. We expect Ramadan to be the bridge, the rope, the anchor, walk you across the train ride. It should take me. I should just step in Ramadan and magically it's gonna make me like. And we don't want to put anything in. We don't want to put anything into Ramadan. We just want to like go in and then go across Ramadan. Why didn't you do anything for me? I came and I chilled with you and you didn't do anything for me. What's up? Ramadan's like, dude, you just came in and you just starved yourself and then you left. I don't even know what you were doing. And you didn't even starve yourself. You only starved yourself during the day. And then a half hour before Maghrib, you kept texting food messages to everybody. What did you want from me? You didn't pray. You didn't do anything else. Had you looked for Sakina, you would have found it. This is what Ramadan's going to say back to us. But if we go into Ramadan tonight before Maghrib, that self-analysis of who you are in this last year, picking out one quality that was not positive about you, and just seeing like that one thing, I'm going to rip that thing out of me. I'm going to rip it out of me. Slowly, but surely. Slowly, no, not but surely. Inshallah, but surely. Inshallah, surely. Then that thing can come out of you. But utilize Ramadan to its extent. Again, I'm going back to the ibadah, but I'm gonna end on that. I'm gonna end on that term. All right. Ramadan. You know, a lot of people when the ayah in Surah Baqarah talks about Ramadan being prescribed to those to us, just as it was prescribed to those before us. Like it's like, you mean like me, and then it was prescribed to the Prophet? Do you mean Ramadan was prescribed to religion by after religion, after religion, after religion, after religion? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that Ramadan is this essence of fasting has been around before you guys. Muslims, you're gonna fast. But guess what? Fasting's been around before you. It's been done before you. There were people doing it before you, and they benefited from it before you. They took from it before you. They became awesome before you. There were many people who said the Anbiya and their messages, the people that followed them. Those people who followed the prophets, some of them in their ummah will be one, some of them in their ummah will be hundreds and thousands, and they all prescribed, were all prescribed to fasting. And in that, you have to understand, what does that mean? That means you're following a tradition that actually comes before your religion. So you're following this tradition of fasting, and it's actually so important to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's so like lovely to him that he made everyone do it. Like he made everyone that wants to follow him do it. And now you get to partake in this tradition of fasting. You get to partake in this tradition of, you know, like doing what people did hundreds of thousands of years ago. Could you imagine that? Hundreds of thousands of years. People were fasting. Sayyidina Adam alayhi his father, it was all prescribed. There were people that were prescribed fasting before us, and we get to partake in that tradition. That's a wonderful thing. People, they pass heirlooms, you know, like they pass heirlooms. And it's so important. Every person who talks about, I'm going to show you two videos. I'm going to show you a video. Everyone that talks about Muhammad Ali is like, oh, I got his gloves here. Even Obama, he just sent out and his wife, President Obama, he said, I have his gloves in my study room and stuff like that. SubhanAllah, why? Because we care about these heirlooms. We're going to pass it on, and part of our Ramadan is an heirloom. It's the heirloom of our. We don't get a reward for holding a pair of boxing gloves, maybe a little bit, because it's near to us. Maybe it reminds us of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness that He gave to Muhammad Ali. Maybe it does. Carrying these heirlooms, no problem. It's a family tradition. But can you imagine, you're like, yo, your parents handed you this thing that's like 150,000 years old. Could you imagine? Dude, Yasin, I know cheese is important, but this thing's 150,000 years old. You gotta take care of it. You understand? How would you keep that thing? Oh! Yasin, where did it go? No, I'm just kidding. LOL. So you see, where do they go? But this heirloom is something that it's an heirloom. You got to protect it and keep it really, really, really dear to your heart. And what do you do with the heirloom? You like protect it. You want to shine it. You want to keep it clean and make sure no one steps on it or hits it or breaks it and stuff like that. You want to make sure it's protected, and you always give it care. You always check on it. You always check up in that box. You're like, oh, where's that heirloom? Okay, it's there. It's safe. It's clean. Yeah, tied it up, clean it up, put it back. You keep checking, you polish it, you make sure it's good. That type of heirloom, this is what you do to Ramadan. It comes, you gotta polish yourself. Oh, Ramadan's coming. Gotta polish Ramadan. What does that mean? You take out the mushaf, you get prepared for it, get ready to, like, oh, okay, long nights, here we come. Long nights, maybe a little bit of sleep, less rest. I don't know, if we're in Canada, we're still in exams. So the kids get out of high school June 25th. So a lot of the high schoolers right now are they're hitting Ramadan, and they got like they have their final exams and stuff like that. So for a lot of them, it's a little bit of a stressful time. And I'll tell you, for you guys, same thing. If it is a stressful time, like, alhamdulillah, like, know your balance. And I'm going to, again, that's where I'm going to end off, inshallah, with that ibadah. I got notes for the first time ever. I can't believe it. I made notes to talk to you guys about. So that's what I'm looking down at. There's no food here. Don't worry. Guessing. All right. So, all right. So, Bismillah. What is the next one? All right. So there are these things in Ramadan that you take from. You know what? I want to pause. I want to show you one video about Muhammad Ali. And this is a very good question about reflection. So if you want to, you're going to go into something. You're going to go meet somebody. You're going to send to a business meeting. And this is one of the huge things that we expect Minna to train people on, is to wake everyone up. So, you're going to go into a meeting. How do you, like, get your mind wrapped around to anticipate, in terms of what you're going to, like, to get ready for what you're going to experience? So like, hey, look, you're gonna call a company and you're gonna like, whatever, as simple as even asking for like a bus quote or like a speaker, but like the questions that you're gonna get asked back, so you prepare yourself, right? You prepare yourself in a phone call, you prepare yourself in anything, so that you can be in this you could be prepared for this thing that you're going to be taking part in, inshallah, right? So what happens is that this is very similar to this is very similar to what happens here. So I want you to listen to this video. If you guys know this question about video, and sorry, this video is about preparation, spelled like time. So I'm gonna just watch a couple of minutes of it, and then I'll cut it off, inshallah. All right? So listen.
I'd like to know what you're going to do when you retire from boxing.
I think he's probably taking the last count at the moment. I'll do my best to wake him up.
Just sleep. That's all I'm gonna do.
That's all he wants to do when he retires.
Now, when I retire from boxing, I really don't know. I want to say something right here. This might make you all think. Life is not really long. Let's say the average person, 30 years old. If you're 30 years old, you are not but about 7 years old. How can I prove it? Add up all the 7, 8, 9 hours you slept for 30 years. Out of 30 years, add up all the nights, last night when you went to bed and woke up this morning, you don't remember a thing. You've been unconscious for about 8 years. If you're 30 years old, you slept about 8 years. Okay. How much traveling have you done in 30 years? From the television station to home, to another country, to another city, to school, to church. You've probably traveled 2 years your life was spent just getting back and forth to where you're going. So there's 8 years of sleeping, 2 years of traveling. There's 30 years out of your life before you accomplish anything. How long do you sit in school? In America, we stay in school from the 12th grade from the 1st grade to 12th grade. Same here?
Yeah, virtually.
6 hours a day?
Yeah.
6 hours a day for 12 years, break it down, you sat in a classroom for 3 years without leaving. Okay, 2 years of traveling, 8 years of sleeping, 3 years of school. How many movies have you went to? How many wrestling matches? How much entertainment? How many movie theaters, live plays, baseball games? Probably 2 years of entertainment. So by the time a man, you older people know him, bear with us what I'm saying, by the time you have children, by the time you have made a way for your children, by the time you've paid for your home, you're pushing 60 years old. So life is real short. So you add up all your traveling, add up all your sleeping, add up all your school, add up all your entertainment, you've probably been half your life doing nothing. So what am I'm 35 years old, 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. So what I'm saying, when you're 65, ain't too much more to do. So did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. I have to travel back to America, take 6, 7 miles. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling in the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God. Owning real estate, going in business, teaching boxers, that won't get me to heaven. How many here believe there's a supreme being, believe there's a God? How many believe there's some power that made the sun, the moon, the stars? How many believe that this stuff didn't just come out here? Somebody wiser than us made it. How many believe there's a God? How many believe there's not a God? All right. Believe there's not a God. All right. If I told you, you who don't believe in God, if I told you that this glass sprang into existence, this glass made itself, no man made this glass, would you believe it? Would you believe I just told you this thing made itself?
No.
Well, I tell you, you wouldn't believe it, right?
No, somebody's doubting it, yeah, so I'm giving you the answer. That's
she wouldn't believe it. If I told her this television station popped into existence, it just, no man made it, you said Muhammad Ali's crazy. All right. Well, if this glass can't make itself, If I told you those clothes you have on wove themselves, nobody created them, those clothes made themselves, you wouldn't believe it. But if your clothes didn't make itself, if that glass couldn't make itself, if this building didn't make itself, then how did the moon get out there? How did the stars and Jupiter, Neptune and Mars and the sun, how did nature, how did all this come here if didn't know why is something planning to make it? So what I'm saying is, I believe that we're going to be judged. Should a man like Hitler kill all the Jews and get away with it? Somebody should punish him. Maybe he get it, don't get it now, he get it when he died. In hell for eternity. So what I'm going to do when I get out of boxing is to get myself ready to meet God, because my plane might blow up. Don't planes blow up in this country sometime and crash? Don't people die every day?
Not every day.
It's a scary thing to think that I'm going to hell to burn eternally forever. So what am I going to do? I'm taking I'm explaining what you asked me a question. You ask me questions, I can't just answer like that. When I get out of boxing or when I'm through, I'm going to do all I can to help people. That's why I'm here with Johnny Walker. Here's a poor man, came all the way to America. Here's a bunch of boys need some money, and somebody is calling me to help them. God is watching me. God don't praise me because I beat Joe Frazier. God don't give nothing about Joe Frazier. God don't care nothing about England or America as far as your wealth is all his. He wants to know, how do we treat each other? How do we help each other? So I'm going to dedicate my life to using my name and popularity, helping charities, helping people, uniting people, bring people bumming each other because of religious beliefs. We need somebody in the world to help us make peace. So when I die, if there's a heaven, I want to see it. Because we live how long? 80 years? The odds are everybody in this room, some of you are going to be dead 20 years from now, some of you are going to be dead 50 years from now, some are going to be dead 30, and some are going to be dead 60, 70 years from now. We all going to die soon. And if you live to be, say, 125 years old, which we don't do, right? Let's say we live to be 250, and you can have sex for 145 of those years. You're going to come to the end after that. So we don't have but about 80 years on earth. This is a test to see where will we spend our life in heaven or hell. This is not the life now. Your real self is inside you. Your body gets old. Some of you go to look at the fridge, you don't have no teeth. Your hair is leaving you. Your bodies get tired. But your soul and your spirit never die. That's going to live forever. So your body is just housing your soul and spirit. So God is testing us on how we treat each other, how we live, to see where our real home be in heaven. So this physical stuff don't last for so long. So my car, this building is going to be here when the man who built it dead. There have been many kings and queens of England. They're all dead. After this one is gone, another one will come. So we don't stay here. We're just trustees. We don't own nothing. Even your children are not yours. If you think I'm lying, your wife is not yours. You die and come back a year later and go slip in your bedroom and see if your wife is by herself. See, you don't own your wife. You don't own I divorced my wife. You may have read about it. And my 4 children, they call another man daddy now. They don't see me no more. You don't own your children. You don't own your family. So what am I saying? The most important thing about life is what's going to happen when you die. Are you going to go to heaven or hell? And that's eternity. How long is eternity? Let's imagine. Take the Sahara Desert. There's a lot of sand on the Sahara Desert, right? Then imagine that 1 grain of sand represents 1,000 years, and when you're in hell burning, when you die and go to hell, you're going to burn forever and ever and ever, no end. How long is that? Give you an idea how long eternity is. Take the Sahara Desert, and I told you to wait 1,000 years. And every 1,000 years, I want you to pick up a grain of sand until the desert is empty. Okay, wait 1,000 years, pick up the first grain. Wait another 1,000 years before you get the next grain. Keep that up until there's no more sand in the desert. Whew. You know how long America's not but 200 years old. We got 800 more years to go before 1,000. So it just scares me to think that I'm going to die one day and go to hell. I'm on an airplane that might blow up. I'm always traveling. And to go to hell and God is going to judge my soul. The police, I might kill people. I might rob people. The authorities might not catch me. The FBI, Scotland Yard might not catch me. But when I die, somebody's watching me and keeping count. And I can't get away. And I'm going to burn forever and ever and ever. I'll go to heaven. So what am I going to do when I'm through fighting? I only have 16 years to be productive, get myself ready to meet God and go to the best place. Don't that make sense?
Thank you.
Jazakallah khair. So the idea was that, I put some points down on the bottom, and I hope you guys took those bolts away. But the idea is that you take perspective. So you look back at Muhammad Ali's life, and this is what he was embarking upon, years ago. And this is where he kind of envisioned himself and what he was doing, what he would do afterwards, and the amount of people and the amount of lives that he affected, Muslim and non-Muslim alike. The people who were victims of injustice, and how many people that he stood up for and against, and how many countless numbers of people were not sent off to Vietnam and stuff like that, because of him. And so when you look at all those lives that were spared, as though you saved one life, as though you saved all of humanity. Like, how many lives did this guy save? So in that, there's a real the compass should turn towards where we want Ramadan to help us be. So where do you want Ramadan to help you be? Do you want Ramadan to help you become, somebody that's good, or do you want Ramadan to, like, hey, whatever you are, you're cool, I'm just gonna come and see you, and then that's it at the end of it. And no effect. It didn't affect you. You didn't affect it. You didn't affect it. We didn't affect anyone around us. And those are negative qualities that we want to take out. We want to be the positive effect. We want to go into Ramadan asking, Ramadan, I'm gonna come to you and I'm gonna treat you with everything and give you everything you want, and then give me it in return. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me what things that should benefit me through you. You're a means for me to get to become a better person and affect people in a better way. So that's how we should envision our relationship with Ramadan. Now check this out. There are these essences of ibadah that we have to perform. Now, how do you kind of prepare yourself for Ramadan? The first thing is you have to know what you're getting into. So you have to understand you're not going to get into, like, these are not normal days. Like, this is like you have to understand that your schedule, your thoughts, your day, all of that is going to change over this next little while. So how should it change? I'm going to express a few things to you. Number one, imagine your day. So break down your day ahead of time. What's going to happen with you tomorrow or the next first 10 days of Ramadan. How are they going to be for me? Okay, maybe I have exams, maybe I have this, maybe I have that. So start to plan out your day and literally timetable it out. And you'll see a certain amount of open space appear. You're like, oh my God, I have free time. This is what you can do with it. So first thing, you have your suhoor in the morning. Many people neglect their suhoor. Like, oh, I'm tired, don't worry, I'll just survive off one meal a day, And they neglect their suhoor. Don't do this. You're disrespecting your body. Not only that, you're not giving your body, subhanAllah. See, eating can be an ibadah. Trust me, it's one I excel at. No, just saying. Eating can be an ibadah. How? Because the energy that the food gives you to be able to do an ibadah is a reward. So if I'm eating so that, and you're eating so that you're like, Ya Allah, I'm eating only so that I can energy to pray. Then I get reward. I get reward for eating. And Sheikh Abdullah Idris, he loves sweets. He doesn't have a sweet tooth. He has a sweet mouth, mashallah. So he's got a sweet mouth, right? So says, he's always like, you can, I do it for a reason, like to enjoy the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to give us something so pleasurable. So in that suhoor, don't let it go, because there's something in there. There's a degree of energy, and it's quantifiable, because you can burn down the calories of the let's say you're gonna have semia, or what do you call vermicelli, or naans, or something like that in the morning, and you can, the food you're gonna have in the morning, not the food like this food, but the food like fava bean. So you're gonna have those food in the morning. You could burn down. You could see, hey, there's X amount of calories and energy and carbohydrates and all this energy that's gonna come out of the food. Where's it gonna go? If I don't give that to my body, I'm literally taking away from my body a quantifiable amount of energy that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking me to take. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking us to wake up and eat before Fajr. And there's an energy in it. We're saying no to that energy. And so that's a mistake that we're making upon our body. Now, once you wake up for suhoor, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, your Fajr is going to be easy. Now, some people, they wake up like, super early and stuff like that. So if you're worried about your Ramadan, like, hey, I'm going to miss, like I'm going to finish eating and then there's still going to be 20 minutes till Fajr, and then I'm going to go to sleep and I'm not going to, don't do that. So like, eat as close to the time as possible. You can eat right to the point of Fajr. There's you right to the point that it ends, that it comes in, and then you're good to go. And then you can pray nice and easy. So at that point, you make your Fajr, you pray, it's perfect. Alhamdulillah, you're chilling. Like I think you got your most important thing, the one that you're probably the one that we're struggling with before Ramadan. We have it on. We have it in now. Very easy for us. And so now what do? You get your rest. Your body needs it. Your body needs the rest. Maybe some people want to start work early and then take like a midday rest, something like that. Totally fine. No problem. Whichever one your parents, you're cool with, your work, your plan out sort of stuff, then that's not a problem at all. But once you've done that, and you have to understand that Ramadan is not about sleeping from like hey, I'm gonna sleep 11 o'clock in the morning, like or 12 o'clock at noon till 8 o'clock at night, and I'll just pray when I wake up. I'm gonna pray my Dhuhr and my Asr, and I'll write it together at 8 o'clock. It's an hour per month. No. This is not. This is not. Have a schedule based around those pivotal points. Those pivotal points are your salah times. Now, what will happen is that you'll still have a huge amounts of gaps in time. There's over 8 hours between Fajr and Dhuhr. Over 8 hours. So you have a good amount of rest there, especially if you're out of school and stuff like that. If you're in school, you know that you'll have time after you come back from class. You will. And you hit your Asr, make sure it's taken care of. Make sure it's taken care of, and then you have a little bit of rest time. No problem. All right? Now, a lot of people are like, hey, try to finish the Quran in Ramadan, finish it 2-3 times, like multiple times. A lot of people struggle with even just one. So what I recommend is breaking it down into small workable parts. And I'll tell you to make it easy. Some of us, it's difficult to even read the Quranic Arabic. And we can't read Arabic well, and we're struggling with it. So this is what I want you to do. You set your phone every day. You set your phone on the first day of Ramadan. You set it for 14 minutes. You put a timer for 14 minutes, and you start at Fatiha. You open the Quran. You go to Fatiha, and I want you to play, like get a reciter that you really like, and play the audio while you're following with your eyes on the surah. Follow with your eyes on the surah. Go through it and let it play for 14 minutes. Now, when the timer goes off for 14 minutes, no matter where you are, you have to stop. No matter where you are, stop. All right? The next day, add a minute, make it 15 minutes. The next day, add 16 minutes. Add another minute, so it'll be 16 minutes. The next day, 17 minutes. The next day, just add 1 minute. And if you're struggling reading, again, I'm telling you, there's a way to help you start reading, is to listen to the audio while you're looking at the Mus'haf, while you're looking at the Quran, and follow the letters, follow the reading, and it'll help you kickstart. If you're good with reading and you know everything, then just work off the timer. Work off the timer to give yourself a minimum, like just 14 minutes. I'm telling you, at the end of 14 minutes, you'll be like, okay, this is too little. Like I only got through like 3 pages or 4 pages. Like, I only got to, so I need more time. Like you wanna, do, and 14 minutes, I'm telling you, if you work up time, it'll fly. And that's how you're gonna mentally, if I tell you to read 10 pages, you're like, oh, dude, 10 pages? Come on, bro. That's like so much. I can't even read one. Okay, no problem. Then work off time. Work against time. That's how you will like, it's a mental trick to like making sure it's not enough. See, when I tell you 10 pages, you're like, oh, that's too much. But I tell you 14 minutes and you try it, like, oh my God, that's not even enough time. But by restricting yourself, you're going to play this. This is how you kill the nafs. This is why I bring this up. What is Ramadan about? Ramadan is about doing something that you don't normally do otherwise, that you would never do. Your body is literally telling you to eat. It's saying, feed me. What are you doing? Why are you not? I am a human being body, and I require things to go here for me to survive. If you're not doing this, what are you doing to me? And you are literally saying, I'm not gonna feed you food. I'm not gonna feed your desires. I'm not gonna give you what you want. Why? For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are literally rejecting your body's instinct, your body's whole function, its requirements. You're rejecting its requirements for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you do that, you can, this is how we reverse the mind. And when you roll out of Ramadan, inshallah, like watch, your mindset will can be completely different. You'll see time in your day, you're like, yo, and pick one point of the day where you do it consistently. One point of the day where you do it consistently, all right? Um, Adding to that, to make the maybe even to make your life easy, do 1 day Quran and then 1 day Sirah. So there are wonderful Sirah books, Martin Ling's, and there's even this new one out. There's a lot of nice Sirah books. I want you guys to pick a Sirah, and even if it's not a book, if you guys like audio books and stuff like that, like you can't even like find the time, then do it an audio book, no problem. Like listen to a recording. Listen to a lecture on the Sirah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Even make it a really long one, so you do like a part a day and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, like this is how your heart will incline to like wanna. Oh my God, that's when that ayah was revealed. Whoa, and you understand the context of why that ayah was revealed and how and what was happening in the life of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when that ayah was revealed. And it's really cool. Like it really makes you want to. When you hear that ayah, you're like, oh my God, that ayah was like when Prophet Sallallahu was doing this. That ayah came down to planet Earth, subhanallah. And so it can be a huge motivational characteristic, inshallah. Iftar, make sure they're nice and healthy, and make sure you eat well. Eat with other people. You can invite your non-Muslim friends over and let them have iftar with you. It's very good to let them see that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like you absolutely should. Eat with as many people as possible. Inshallah, it's a nice thing. This is a month of congregation, right? Like Tarawih is like, you want it in a nice group and congregation. And it's definitely a good place to do it. Now, listen, um, this disobeying of the body, how we're disobeying our body. We're disobeying our body's want for food, our disobeying our body's want for desires. We're disobeying, our body's wants for sleep, for fun. We're disobeying it completely. So I'm not going to give you any of this. And for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you meant the preparation of yourself is just as much a mental game as it is a physical game. So mentally, how do you do it? Again, work on ways that, work against methods that make those things easy to do. So for example, the time, scheduling, those will make it easy for you and make them small. Break it down to a small workable part. That's how you accomplish something big. If you try to bite the whole thing off, it's going to be very difficult to chew, right? Okay, that's number one. Number two is understanding the rest of our ibadah. Like in Ramadan, the question, a lot of people do their zakat and do charity and stuff like that. And I don't, even though you guys are young, I want you to get into the habit of giving something to people in need, no matter how small it is, no matter how small. I don't care if it's a nickel, which means 5 cents, or it's a quarter, or it's whatever it is. Just get into the habit of making your body start to like give something away, like from it, like, oh, that's in my pocket, I just want to give it to somebody. I want to give it to somebody. I want to give it to somebody. I'm going to tell you why. When you start young, you can develop a very nice tradition of giving. Very nice tradition of giving. Number one. Number two, Shaitan, he obviously wants you to, when you have money, like, he'll like, stop, don't give. You need it for this. You're married. No, don't donate because you have to have the expense of have to cover the expense of your house. Don't donate. Who's going to pay for the diapers? Don't donate, right? For all these excuses. But when you're young, excuses are very minor, except for the fact that maybe you don't have money. But in which case, don't worry. Just go to your parents. Hey, I have a credit card. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do your credit card. But you have, every single one of us can find a small amount of money, like 5 cents. You know what? That's going to be our homework. No more than a quarter. I want you to find a way to only give a quarter, 25 cents, when you see an opportunity, even in the sadaqah box. And I'm going to tell you why. Many people think that when they're giving charity to someone in need, that they are giving, like, let's say I see a person, let's say I'm going to pick on Yassine again because he's here. Yassine sees somebody that needs money, and Yassine's like, oh man, like, what do I do? The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes charity is that you are not giving him your money. Yassine, you're not giving that person your money. You're giving him his money or her money. It's their money. You're just like a transfer. Like you're just literally the wire transfer. That's all you are. This money that you're giving to these people, it's theirs. You did not give them anything that you didn't give them yours. You give up from ourselves, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you give up from yourselves. Like you sacrifice from your life, from your wealth and your life, da da da. But what the actual what you're giving them, and this is a huge aspect of rizq. And this is what I want you to understand. When it comes to fasting, we're literally, like this is a big thing to do with rizq, which is like our sustenance, everything like that. We're literally like, keeping it at bay, and we're not like taking much from it and stuff like that. And we're, learning to kind of, be more spiritual and be more ibadahful, and like have those things to us, so that when it comes time to actually give out, where does our mindset be? And so, like, let's say we were to invite you were to invite somebody over to your house, and they were to come to have iftar. It was written in their book, of their life, that one of the rizqs that they would get in their life would be at your house on that day, at that time. So it's not like a guest comes over and you're like, yo, hide the lemon cheesecake. Just give them the apple pie. Hide the lemon cheese. And it's like, dude, they're gonna eat what's written for them. You have no, even so what you're you can't hold it back. And on top of that, they're gonna eat what was ordained for them. So we should never. This is why feeling bad about, like, if somebody comes and enjoys, like you gave somebody charity, you're like, oh, why did I do that? Or I gave them too much. You have to understand that's not the case. You gave them what was theirs. It was destined to be theirs. So we should never hold on to this dunya so tight, or hold on to our charity so tight. And there's a huge lesson you teach, like youngsters and stuff like that, because you want them to understand, like, the essence of zakat and the essence of charity and giving is, you are a means. We are a means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is simply using to give these people what is rightfully theirs. What is theirs? And so then the question becomes, what is rightfully ours? And this is the gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us as Ramadan. That's ours. Ramadan is ours. The reward that you can get afterwards is yours. It's yours. But are you going to go and take it? Or are you going to go and say, hey, Ramadan, nice knowing you, I just fasted, just, stop eating, and that was the end of it. And if we are that type of people, then that is an issue. And that is an issue. And that's where we should, inshallah, begin. Maybe that's one of the places where you start this month off, inshallah, of looking at yourself and saying, hey, I've got this one bad quality about me, and that's the one I want to change. That's the one I want to change. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make Ramadan full of blessings for you guys, full of blessings for all of us, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all the sins of Muhammad Ali and what he did, and for if anything he may have done, and Ya Rabbi, grant him the highest place in Jannah, Ya Rabbil Alameen, say Ameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him for all of his sins and bless his family and put us all on the straight path, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let Ramadan be not just a thing that changes us, but that we enter it in wanting change, and that we change in the best of manners afterwards. Ya Rabbil Alameen, help us find the qualities within us that are not to your satisfaction and not to your pleasure. And Ya Rabbil Alameen, let us take those actions away and out of our lives. Ya Rabbil Alameen, let us find sweetness in sujood. Let us find sweetness in ruku. Let us find sweetness in al-Fatiha. Let us find sweetness in reflection, and sweetness in reading the Quran, and sweetness in dua, and sweetness in spending time with each other and in good company, Ya Rabbil Alameen, so that our hearts become closer to each other and closer to you, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakallah khair. Now listen, we won't close it off really quickly, but I mean, that was pretty much what I did want to say. And I think, Hadil, if we have any questions, then inshallah, please, I think if we can, if you want, type them in at the bottom.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, brother Fiyyaz. That was a beautiful, beautiful halaqah, mashallah. If you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to type them in. And Brother Fiyyaz will see them and inshallah try to answer them to the best of his ability.
Oh, and while you're typing, can you repeat your tips on reading the Quran in Ramadan? That's from Allah. Yes. So breaking things down into small workable part. So number one, you have to schedule your day. You have to, like, literally, if you even didn't have this before, you should, like, make a timetable for the day, like, your schedule for the day. this time to this time I'm doing this time, because you know when you're in school and you're out of school, and like when you're gonna have to give time to your family and your parents and stuff like that, right? Now once that's done and you find yourself, hey, look, I have like 2 hours in the morning. I want you to start the first day and take the first so set your timer on your phone for 14 minutes, and so have your mushaf in front of you and pick your favorite reciter and let it play. So you start off and you're following where the reciter is reciting from. You're following along, just like you're in tarawih, just like you're in tarawih. So you're actually like trying to put your mind at like being in a nice conscious state while you're listening to Quran. So then follow along with what the reciter is reciting and where you are in the mushaf, and just follow along. Once 14 minutes are done, then stop. The next day, add a minute. So do 15 minutes, and the next day, add a minute. So it'll be 16 minutes. All right. I actually I recorded this thing, so I don't know if it's working, the recording thing, or not. But if it is, then I can because you guys have to put your email addresses in, so we can email to you guys inshallah as well. Cool. Okay, can I show you guys the other video? So I don't think there's anyone that called in. Oh, there's one person on the phone. Okay, so this is a video of Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura was a wrestler, WWF or whatever it is, and he became a governor and stuff like that. And so he is kind of giving his reflection on Muhammad Ali. Do you guys mind if we watch it really super quick, inshallah? It's like 4 minutes, but we'll play it super fast. Just a little bit of it. Maybe it's not gonna work.
He had probably one of the greatest and earliest influences on me, Muhammad Ali, who did a record album called I Am the Greatest. And I used to sit and listen to that album day in and day out. I had it memorized. I still have it today. I can do it today.
Why did you listen to it so much?
Because he became my hero.
Okay.
And I remember when he was going to fight List and nobody picked Cassius to win except me. I said, Cassius is going to win, Dad. And sure enough, Cassius did win. And he's been my hero since I was probably 9 or 10 years old. I got the chance to spend a day with him when I was governor. It was one of the best days of my life.
What did you guys do during that day?
Hung out. Well, what led to that was that when I won the governorship and I gave my acceptance speech, no one thought I could win. Just as no one thought Cassius would beat Sonny Liston. And I remember that night, Mohammed Cassius saying, we shocked the world. So I got up that night and I told the story of Mohammed beating Sonny Liston and how they shocked the world. And I said, we shocked the world. 2 weeks later, businessman Harvey McKay came to my office and he said, I'm here to deliver this to you. And he said, you better open it. And when I opened it up, there was a pair of red Everlast gloves in it. And it said to Governor Jesse Ventura, you shocked the world, Muhammad Ali. He had been watching that night on television.
Your son, Tyrell, told me you got pretty emotional with getting that gift.
Oh, yeah. Sits in my office behind glass today.
Why do you think you got so emotional?
Because he's your hero. And I get emotional now. Because he gave up the greatest title in the world, being a man of his conviction. And if I can be half that man, he is the greatest. No, he gave up the title, the most prestigious title in the world, because he refused to go to war. And they would have given him a pat job. All he did was walk around doing exhibitions. But he knew if he agreed to do that, more young black people would be sent off to a war he was against. And he stood up and said, I'll give up the greatest title in the world because I will be a man of conviction. The thing I remember the most was we sat down and he gets stuff every day. People mail him stuff, VCRs, this, and he had gotten a new one of early days of him fighting. I mean, this is way before he was a champ. And he's here and I'm here and we're watching him fight. And he's in one particular fight, I think Sonny Banks, if I remember right. And Banks catches it, maybe it wasn't him, but it was somebody, caught him clean, pow, and Muhammad's down on his back, right? Well, he quick got up and, he went on to win the fight. But when he went down on his back, I looked over at Muhammad. Muhammad looked at me, and even through his Parkinson's, he leaned over and whispered to me, slipped. And I just burst out laughing. I thought, only Muhammad, this was no slip. This was a clean shot, and he knew it. But only Muhammad would tell you, slipped.
So that was the last video, and just to show you again, like, I guess that was a life in service of other people, a life in regards to, like, we have a life that helps other people. We have a life that helps other people have a better life. And, that's one where we stand, one where we stand up for other people and we make sure that, people's rights are not trampled on. And that's a life that also affects other people and affects them to their heart and to their core, more so than any lecture or debate, anything like that. You go and debate the whole world or go and I can lecture you guys for 10 hours. Or I could tell you, like, a video or, appeal to you in a story. I tell you one story of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, and your love could go through the roof. You would show just as much expression of tears and joy and happiness, hearing a story of Prophet Muhammad SAW, with people that had given him so much animosity and, like tormented him and persecuted him. And still he gives them out of his mercy. He gave them out of mercy, and he gave them out of mercy until they gave Shahada, and they said Shahada, and they're like, we can't break the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is such a remarkable human being. And so, when you have people, turn to faith because of that, then inshallah that's something that you're doing, which is really good. And that's inshallah something that we hope that Ramadan turns us all into the people that see what the world needs and aim to deliver it to the people in need, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, guys. Does anyone have any other questions? Another quick question. What would you recommend doing to keep the Ramadan high we feel at the start and the end alive when we hit the middle of Ramadan? Oh, perfect question. So, don't neglect your breaks. Don't neglect your rest, your breaks. And so people, like, they're gonna, like I said, like, you bite off too much and then you go into it and you're like, oh, subhanAllah, that's it. Like, I did all this stuff and now, it's getting too much. A rest, and take a break, da, 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 da. And also understanding what of the each 10 days represent. So Ramadan is broken into into these three categories, right? And I don't want to share them with you. I want you to look them up because I want you to understand that in the first 10, if you focus, like during your tarawih, let's say you're praying tarawih. Let's say you even, like, you're finished, you prayed, you went to the masjid, you prayed your Isha, you prayed your tarawih with everyone, and you made it home, yeah? And you prayed your witr or whatever is said and done. There's nothing holding you back. I'm telling you right now. There's nothing fiqh-wise or anything wise that holds you back from dropping your head to the ground and still continuing in a dua, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, anything. Dua for something you need, something you're in need of, that you require, that will be of benefit to you and other people, that will, like, help you out of a situation that you're in. That will help somebody else out of a situation that they're in. I know friends that, man, they pray for friends all the time. Sheikh Abdul was telling us, man, before he goes to sleep every night, he literally names all of his children in his dua, and then he names his grandchildren, and he does it name by name by name by name. And he does this for everyone. Why? Because everyone is in need of something. Everyone is in need. So if you ever reach a point in the middle where you're like, okay, what am I doing now? Change it up. Just completely change it up. The first 10 days might be about figuring out that thing that you need to change. And then the second might be like, look, now that I got this done, let me add something else in. Let me add a next seerah, a story of another prophet, just story of Prophet Adam, story of Prophet, Musa, story of Prophet Rahim, like just something sheath, like find even a prophet you never even heard much about, and go listen to a story about it. And if that still doesn't, then find yourself in dua. And if you don't know what dua to make, then please ask me. You can make dua for your, like you can write these categories down. Like obviously, let's start from the outside, the world and people that are suffering in it. You make dua for every single place that people are suffering in. You want self-reflection? Imagine you were in Syria right now, living, having this Ramadan there. Imagine you didn't have a laptop to watch things on. Imagine that. Put yourself in that situation. Half your family left the country, you don't even know where they are. They're alive, they're gone, they've passed away. Where they are, nothing. You have no idea where they are. You have other things, all you hear is shelling above your head. Where's your head at this point? Where are your emotions at this point? And then now truncate. So you've got the world. Now imagine people who are hungry. So now you have this person, and now there's people in need. There are people in need across the world, right? There are people in need across the world. Food, shelter, whatever it may be. Now don't even just think of Muslims. Look at the people who are, look, man, there's people in like Fort McMurray, and there's people in this fire. They're going to have Ramadan, there's fire burning behind them. Like, could you imagine yourself in that situation? You're Muslim, you have neighbors whose houses have been like just destroyed and damaged, they're done. What situation? What would you put yourself in? The people are going through the economic turbulence, the economic turmoil in European Union. These are, you have to understand, this is a real situation. There are actual real kids whose fathers do not have enough money to buy a loaf of bread. Like it really exists. It's for real. So wrapping your head around that situation and going around the world and looking at, just imagining all the turmoil that people can be in, and making dua for them. And then you think locally, hey, who's coming in? You know, the Syrian refugees, how are they? Like, put yourself, go have iftar with them. Go find a Syrian refugee family, and I'm telling you, Ken, they're all across the states, and go try to have iftar or invite them over for iftar. Like that will be a huge life awakening. Go donate your time. Go to a food bank. You can't go to a hospital and try to volunteer. Go, like, going around to the an old folks home or something like that, and just sit with people and talk with them and chat with them. And like, if you find that in and of itself is ibadah. You can go to a food bank in Ramadan. You can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that spiritual impact. It doesn't only come from sitting down reading like the Quran again, and you're not, like, you don't know if you're getting any. There's benefit to that. I'm not saying that there's not. I'm saying you can add on top of that things. You can add on top of that things to affect your heart. But you need the Quran first. You need to have that down packed. You need to have your salah down packed. Like, you can't play around with that. And then adding onto that, you do these things, your compass will point you in the right direction of where you need to go for them. Those middle 10 days will fly by like that. Fly by. And you're like, subhanAllah, you're already into the last 10 days. Sheikh Abdullah says Ramadan is gonna, before you know it, it's gone. You think you're starting it and it's already over. So know that those middle 10 days, you should, if you want to be worried that subhanAllah, every day Ramadan is going faster and faster. Ya Allah, like, let us have it. This guest he's trying to leave the house. This guest is like, hey, I gotta go, and you're like, no, have more, come back, sit with me more, sit with me longer. No, I gotta go. No, stay, please. You don't want him to leave. You don't want him to go. You don't want them to leave. You don't want her to go. You know what I'm saying? And then you want them to stay. But they're trying to leave, and you want them to stay. That's the analogy of Ramadan. It's a guest that you're just like, dude, this guy came to your house and he gave you everything you asked for. He gave you spirituality. He gave you closest to Allah. He gave you a chance, best chance for charity. He gave you rewards that you can't even count. That no calculation. The reward of fast is with Allah. Everything else we do is for ourselves. But fasting is for Allah. What does that mean? That means that there's a complete, that ibadah separates itself from all other ibadahs. Salah is here because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it outside of above the seven heavens. Isra wal Mi'raj, it gets revealed. So that's salah. And then you have siyam, the fasting and stuff like that. See, all other fasting sorry. So with Siyam, with fasting, this is one where it was prescribed again, revealed before us, and then on top of that, the reward is not like any other ibadah. Anyone, all other ibadah we do them for ourselves. For Ramadan, this fasting is all for Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, in His perfect and most beautiful way, is going to give us the reward for it in a measure that we can't even comprehend. So that's think about that. You're in the middle 10 days, you're like, oh my God, what did I do in the first 10? Maybe that's a good question. Every day, write down a summary of what you did that day in terms of ibadah. Every day at the end of it. Right before iftar, sit down and write down what did I do since yesterday Fajr? What did I do? Write it all down. 5, 6 points, just bullet point form. And then look back on it. If you're satisfied with it, try to add something small and something more. And if you're not satisfied, that's perfect. You definitely have to add something. You definitely have to add something. It might be a good work off a checklist. And you guys are very alhamdulillah, good scholastically and stuff like that. So it might be a perfect thing for you guys to do. Hope that answers it. Good to see
Do
these
we
names.
have any other questions from anyone? No questions.
Perfect.
Last call, guys.
Can you guys, if you don't have a question, can you each type in a dua in the chat? Type a dua and we can all say Ameen, inshallah. Today. It's a good idea, man. Trust me, these nights, man, I'm telling you, like just if your school permits you, like you're not in school and your parents like, dude, you can stay all night up and pray and I'll let you sleep till Dhuhr. I'll let you sleep from Fajr till Dhuhr. And just stay up and pray in your room, on your own, in your corner. Don't let anyone near you and just chill in sujood. Just go to sujood, just stay. Just chill out there. Don't worry where your head goes. Trust me, your head's gonna end up in the right place. Just go there and then just chill out there, inshallah. Watch. Come back to me and tell me. Tell me how it was. I wanna know. From Fiyyaz, from Hadid, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward everyone on this call and me. You make this a beneficial Ramadan for us all. Ameen. Faiza, oh Allah, allow us to continue the good habits that we initiate during this month. Ameen. That's awesome. Very good dua. Yasmeen, may this Ramadan be the most beneficial Ramadan for us so far, and may we live to see many more. Ameen. Ameen. Sana Khan, Ya Allah, please help us renew our intentions this Ramadan with everything and everyone, and help us do it for the sake of Allah. Actually, that's perfect. Sammy, everyone just close your eyes for a quick second, and I want you to understand what's happening. So if you are starting for sure tonight, and may Allah reward you. And if you're starting, by a moon setting, and it might happen later on, then alhamdulillah, you're perfect. You're good. We love you both. It's awesome. That's the heart that we want to all have, right? But let's take a chance to renew it right now. Regardless, like let's renew our intention right now. Ya Rabbil Alameen, we're fasting this month of Ramadan for you and your sake alone. I mean, Ya Allah, we want to take the most out of this Ramadan. Ya Allah, don't let Ramadan leave and we didn't get, and don't let us be amongst the losers that Ramadan came and left and we are still with our sins. We're still sinners. Don't let us be amongst those people. Ya Allah, let us take Ramadan in and take the most out of it and be better than we were leaving Ramadan than we entered in. Let us be better leaving Ramadan than how we entered it. Maryam Fatima, let it be a means to create new and sustainable habits. Ameen. Very good. Very good. Very good. And Allah, Ya Allah, allow us to leave this Ramadan as better people than who we were at its beginning. I mean, and I thought you were a writer. Do you know about plagiarism? I just said that one. So, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I could feel more, inshallah. That's good. That was all right, good. I hope you guys definitely took a lot of notes. Look, there's a lot of things are based on the plan, right? So the schedule for the day and then the checklist at Maghrib, like, try to do that every Maghrib, like, make a checklist. I'll write these all out for you again. So daily schedule. Cool. No problem. daily for an reading timer, 14 minutes, 15 minutes, etc. Daily summary of ibadah. Not even ibadah, just of good actions, okay? Of good actions at Maghrib. And then here are some ideas. So visit a food bank. Oh, I spelled that wrong, sorry. Okay. Okay. And that's gonna add on to your call. Perfect. If we are good, then Hadil, I think we are good to close off, inshallah. Oh, a good tip my mom
Jazakallah.
also got me to do last year was use the last 10 minutes before Maghrib just to make dua. Of course, this time is a precious time. The time right before Maghrib is extremely precious. It's one of the two times where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends to the lowest parts of the heavens and is the, like the closest. And, there's even two words that said at that point that are, there's easy on the tongue, light on the tongue, but strong, but heavy on the scale. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah al-Azim. So there are definitely two du'as. There are two kalam, there are two words that should be said very, very, very strong and said well, and just use that time definitely to make the du'a. It's a solid time to make dua. Perfect, inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this an awesome Ramadan for you guys all. Please keep each other in your du'as. Keep Mina in your du'as. Keep your Mina officers in your du'as. Keep your our families in your du'as. Please, each and every one of us. Even me and mine. Please keep us in your du'as. And inshallah, we'll definitely be keeping y'all in our du'as as well. Inshallah.
Jazakallah khair everyone for joining. Jazakallah khair Brother Fiyyaz for giving an awesome, awesome beneficial halaqah, mashallah. We look forward to doing more of these things in the future, inshallah, and we hope that you all can invite your friends. And it would be a great time, inshallah.
You're most welcome, Faiza. Yeah. All right. I'm waiting for you guys to all exit, then I'm going to end the session when you guys are all gone. When is the next one? Oh, Sana Khan, good question. The next one will be next week. It's every Sunday at 4 p.m. inshallah, okay? I'm pretty sure. But the minute will definitely post something on the Facebook and social media and the chat of Snap.
Make sure you tell your friends, guys, because everything they benefit, you'll also get the reward for that as well, inshallah. So please PR this to your friends, even if it's like your sibling or something.
وإياكم رشاد وإياكم